Hey there, René Molenaar here for GNS3 Vault, and let's have a look at the ICND1 assessment lab. First of all, let's start by setting all the correct host names. And this should be Godzilla. And this should be Nessie. And here we have King Kong. There we go. Step 1. Okay, the second step, make sure we set all the correct IP addresses and subnet masks. And to make things interesting, I got a couple of different subnet masks, as you can see. So we got a /25 over here on between Godzilla and Nessie. Let's do a no shut on all the interfaces that we have. This should be the subnet masker for a /25. There we go. Let's do the one between Godzilla and King Kong. And let me think, a /28 should be a 240. Yeah, it should be a 240. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 240, that's correct. And we still have one link between Nessie and King Kong, which is a /26. And it should be a 192. Here we go. If you have some trouble with the subnetting part and the binary calculations, let me show you this really quick. There's just one book that I created a while ago. And this book will show you everything you need to know about subnetting. Just one big PDF with all kinds of exercises, how to do the calculation, the fastest way, and so on. So if you have trouble with subnetting, this is something you could check out. Okay, back to our lab. So we did the IP addresses. And now we're going to set a type 7 enable password on Godzilla and a type 5 for King Kong. So Godzilla type 7. Here you can see in the config enable password, you see it's a type 7. And we do this by setting an enable password and then type in service password encryption. And King Kong should have a type 5. And you see if you do enable secret, you see it's a type 5, which is a MD5 hash, which is far more secure. Nessie, make sure you can only use SSH, no telnet. Username big, password mobs. Okay, let's see if that's if we can get that fixed. Here we go. And something else we need to do is generate a certificate for SSH. You need to set a domain name, and then you can create a key. And you see that SSH is now enabled. So let's give it a shot, see if we can log in. No user specified. Let me see how this is working again. I always have to think. Oh, sorry, min L. Here we go. So you can see that SSH is working. So far so good. King Kong, configure password Cisco on the console. Let's see if we can try it. Okay, it's a bit difficult to try because we're already in the console, but going to linecon 0 and setting a password is what you are looking for. Or even better, use a secret instead of password. Godzilla and Nessie, PPP encapsulation. Godzilla and Nessie, okay. Let's check it. Here we go, encapsulation PPP. So you only need to specify encapsulation PPP on the interface. The link between all other routers should be HDLC. Now that's kind of a trick question because the default is HDLC. Alright. What else do we have? When you log in remotely on Godzilla, it should show a banner, get away from Godzilla. So let's configure something on Godzilla for that. And before we do so, let's set a password and telnet to log in remotely. And let's see, these are all the banners we can use. So we'll try a login banner. Something like this. And let's see if we telnet into Godzilla. Let's see if I got the correct banner. Here you go. So now you get to see a banner when you try to telnet. Create a static host so you can telnet to King Kong instead of the IP address. It's not just for telnet, but we can also try it with a ping. I'm going to set a host name. So let's say on router Nessie. I'm going to configure this address. So now I can do a ping King Kong and it will ping to router King Kong instead of typing in the IP address. So where are we now? Disable automatic DNS lookups on Nessie. That's one of the most useful things you can do. If I type in something like this, then it will do a domain lookup because it thinks I'm trying to telnet into a hostname called test. This is very annoying because every time you mistype a command you have to wait for it. So we are going to disable this behavior. And we do it by typing in no IP domain lookup. And you can see that it does no longer try to do a domain lookup. Godzilla, make sure items sent to the console are not interrupting the command you type. What I mean here is, let's go to this router. Let's do a debug. See, if I try to type something now, because the output of the debug is in front of my command line, which is kind of annoying. And we can change this behavior. Let's just do it on this router. Line console 0 and there you say logging synchronous, which will make sure that your command line at the bottom will always be there. So you can see it already, that my debug starts one line above my command line input. So that's logging synchronous. What else do we have? Console should never time out on King Kong. And King Kong is still stuck somewhere with a DNS lookup. Hi? Yo. Nou, dat vind ik op zich wel een goeie, ja. Ja, is goed. Waar ben je? Echt waar, hebben ze softijs iets? Nou, neem er iets van softijs mee, dat vind ik wel een goeie. Ja? Ja, softijs en doe er maar iets van snoepjes op. Of chocola of iets erbovenop. Ja, helemaal goed. Tot zo. Hoi. Okay, I just quickly pressed the pause button to make sure King Kong was no longer stuck in a domain lookup. And what I'm going to do is make sure King Kong never has a timeout for the console. And that's where we use exec timeout 00, which means that it will never time out. Create a loopback on Godzilla. There we go. Create a static route on King Kong, pointing to the loopback of Godzilla. My bad, I should have created the loopback on Godzilla. So let's get rid of it. No interface. We're going to create it on Godzilla. Here you go. And let's create a static. And we should point it to the interface, the IP address of Godzilla, which is .1. Oh, let me disable this debug. You can see after configuring the static that I can ping the loopback. What else do we have? Create a default route on Nessie, pointing to the loopback of Godzilla. Should have an administrative distance of 200. So this is how you create a default. And I'm going to point it towards 12.1, and I configure it with a administrative distance of 200. Now let's see if this is working. It's not working. Oh, because I'm making a typo here. This should be the subnet mask. Let's do a show IP route again. Here it is. This is looking better. And you can see that it is working perfectly. What else do we have? Configure RIP on all routers version 2. You should be able to ping all networks. And make sure the subnet mask is included in the routing updates. What we're going to do is run version 2, no auto summary, and then type in all the networks that we have. So that's one router. That's another one. And I should add the loopback here as well. Here we go. You can see all the networks that we are learning from RIP, and we'll just try and ping one of those, and you can see that it is working. So that's it. No auto summary takes care of this, and the last task is that we need to disable CDP between King Kong and Godzilla. So King Kong and Godzilla, let's have a look. And that's an easy task. No CDP enable. And here is Godzilla. No CDP enable. Keep in mind, if I do show CDP neighbors immediately, then it will show up, because it takes some time before it will time out. But those were all the tasks that we have. I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said before, if you have trouble with subnetting, make sure to check out my subnetting book. If you want some more labs for ICND1 or CCNA, make sure to visit GNS3vault.com. But for now, thanks for watching, and see you next time.